right, good morning. We are here talking heroic disgrace with the author, Scott Box. How you doing this morning?
It's been a good day. Had an interview this morning, which was fun.
Awesome.
I'm learning how to do those and not suck them up.
Did they ask you anything personal?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, they did the entire time.
Nice. How did that go?
It went well. I'm genuinely enjoying the process of talking to people I do not know and who do not know me and probably haven't even read the book.
Right.
They've just been kind of given a list of ask Scott these questions, and that's a fun. It's fun. It's a different world.
So it's like this, where I'll just watch this video and not have to read the book.
Yeah.
But
which
are
is
we
just
afraid
fun.
of reading as a culture? Have we gotten to a point where reading is not so big?
I know
as
my
watching
son
Netflix?
is. Titus is like all into audiobooks because they're easy. But I don't see that. I don't know. I don't have a super strong opinion about that one way or the other.
Yeah.
I do feel like as long as the content is the same, your ability to take it in either through your ears or your eyes.
Reading. I mean, reading kind of develops your imagination in a way.
True.
Though. I mean, as a kid, we read. As kids. Today's kids are raised on iPads a little bit more if their parents are into that.
A lot of
my
parents are
kids,
into that. Yeah.
Probably not your kids.
No, we did our share of iPad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But reading still like, hey,
sure.
develop your imagination. Kind of course, that is a letdown when you watch the movie of the book you've read and you're like, that's not at all what the character looks like, or that's not how they talk, you know. Yeah. But everyone's imagination is different, right? So we're talking firsts this morning.
Yeah.
First,
I was going to ask some question about reading it, but
are we going to read? Let's read.
Yeah, let's
live.
read it.
Let's read it now. All right.
Let's not talk about it.
It is short. It is short. We're going to do first, and then we're going to do fear. Right? Is that the other
fear already? Question mark.
Fear already. Fear already? Like you just get married in firsts, right? This is when you get married and you make this commitment.
Yep.
And then, I mean, it's a short one. It's a little short subsection, and it goes right into fear already. You just got married. Now, this is the second or third time, if you've been following along and watching the videos, this is going to be the second or third time we've mentioned when you got married, all of a sudden you had these undue expectations for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, why? What's going on there? You wanted to get married, and you even talk about it.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to be married. I knew I needed to be married.
Right.
It was time. It was time to get married. And
how old were you?
22.
Okay.
Carrie Ann was 20.
Yeah.
She couldn't even drink yet, legally.
Nice.
Although in Mexico,
which we'll get to.
No.
I have to do it too.
No, I wanted to be married, and for sure, marriage.
Yeah. You just wanted someone to cook for you, really, and clean up after you? Is that why?
Boy,
you started out early this morning with the personal. Like, you already answered personal questions.
Yeah, but that's not something I want to be.
It's obviously
Hey, woman.
Not. Hey, woman, get in the kitchen.
Helga.
Oh my gosh. That is not what we're talking about. But if I don't poke fun at you, who does?
No,
who does?
I accept. I actually didn't have a good comeback on that one.
I know,
I'm sorry,
that's okay.
man.
So you got married mostly for sexual reasons. Is it good? Is it entertaining so far?
No, but good. That is actually funny. That is one of the from a conservative Christian standpoint, or even I imagine
the Bible says it. By the way,
go get married before you have sex.
Yeah,
and if you're struggling, get married.
Right. Absolutely.
Like that's one of the amazing things about culture these days, with how many people. Men and women, but I've never understood the female mind as to why won't he commit to me?
Right.
And it's like, well, he's got everything he wants from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stop giving him that, or it's
why buy the cow if you get the milk for free? Right.
For goodness sakes.
I could say that, right? This is PG. We can push it a little to PG-13. So for your first, you go and you get married, and then you have these expectations, which we've talked about, are unhealthy expectations we put on ourselves, that Carrie Ann didn't have those expectations for you, I'm sure. She just wanted to be loved, to be cared for, to be nurtured, and to build a life together with someone, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
And you thought, I've got to be this superhero. I've got to leap tall buildings and knock out all these problems that could appear in our lives. I mean,
You're right.
that was unhealthy.
It was, and I think that it hit me as hard as it probably could have, without going crazy. I didn't go crazy, but I definitely was not expecting the way that it hit me. I'm talking within hours of the wedding itself. You know, it's like the wedding night. That morning, we hopped on an airplane. We get in a taxi that next night. So like 24 hours after the wedding, and it hit me.
Yeah.
So we had a wonderful wedding. Let's back up to the wedding. We had a great wedding
Because we're talking first.
It was
you won't say
amazing.
You won't say it, but let me
wedding.
applaud you for the audience, for people to understand. And you can cut this. Feel free if you want. But I applaud you for waiting to have sex until you were married, both you
Thank
and your
you.
wife. I
was
feel
not easy.
No. You gotta be kidding me.
It was not easy.
No crap, it wasn't easy. Right?
I know. Yeah.
No worries. I know you wouldn't say that. I know you wouldn't be on here saying, "Oh my gosh, like
Thank
look
you.
at what I did." I just want to give you some credit for this, though, that I know that's difficult. I know that's a very, very hard thing to do. The Bible commands us to do it. God asks us for purity until we're married.
Right.
As young Christians, we should not be out there having sex before marriage. I will stand here and say that, sit here and say that with you. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So when you talk about first and your wedding night, was there any anxiety about that?
Oh, sure.
Before or like after, during, how?
Yeah. Well, I think the anxiety for me came with expectations based on, other lustful things that I'd put in my head,
Right,
or
of course.
those types of things are always.
You had some thought of how it would go.
I did, and some of that's based on education. Other things are just based on being stupid.
Yeah.
And but no, I think that from the standpoint of first time, yeah, it was as good as it could possibly be, and then and it's special. Like that's what's so amazing when it wasn't just me. It was, clearly Carrie Ann had waited.
Right.
And that was cool. I mean, and not to be all sensual or weird about it, it was genuinely like we had gotten some great advice.
Right.
Go, have the wedding, do all that, and then come back, eat something, get cleaned up, take a shower, take a bath, whatever it is, and then get in bed.
Right.
Oh, dude! And Carrie Ann's thing was like, "You're not going to make it to midnight, man.
Right.
There's no
Right.
chance." I'm like, "I'm making it to midnight."
What's that? Why'd you have to make to midnight? What are you gonna try to do?
Well, I don't know.
Turn to a pumpkin? Were you putting it off?
Yeah, I was like,
Seriously?
"Hey, we made it that long. I can make it one more
one more
day.
day.
I can make
I
it
see,
one.
I
Just
see.
come on.
No
I'm going to
way.
show you how manly I am." Was stupid. I didn't make it to midnight.
I'm sorry. I don't even know how we got here. This is on me. I'm just taking
it's all
full blame
good.
for this.
No, it's totally
This is
good.
good. This
Go
though, if we're talking first, we have to talk about these things because everyone has their first, okay? At a lot of things, not just sexual stuff, a lot of things. And our first time driving gets so built up. We have these thoughts in our mind of what it's going to be like. And then the first time we take the car out without mom and dad, and it's not a big deal. It's not, we go, okay, it's what it is. Okay, now the first is gone, but you'll always remember that first time, right? The first time you step into your first job, the first time you have a baby, that when your first child, that's like a magical moment. Your first time with your wife, now you are going on the honeymoon after that?
Yeah.
And it hits you.
So yeah. I know where you're going. Let me just say that one more thing about the first, the entire idea of, and I think this is part of what God wants in from the sexual side too, is that, and I'm so glad we followed, not perfectly, but because I had a girlfriend beforehand, but I had never gone. You set some boundaries, and thank God I had a wonderful girlfriend who
Wasn't pushing you.
Wasn't pushing and was very respectful and demanded respect herself, which was so important. And I respect her to this day. But one of the amazing things about maintaining sexual purity until marriage, in my experience, is that I had no one to compare her to.
Nice,
And
yeah.
she had no one to compare to. And for me as a dude,
That's huge.
that is a huge thing.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't worried, like, am I as good? Am
Right.
I, this or that?
Right.
That was not even on my mind, which is such a gift that you can give yourself even. She gave it to me. I was able to give that right back to her. It's a huge
This
mental
is a big
thing.
deal. I mean, right as you're talking about this, I'm kind of like, me and talking off camera. I talk a lot of Genesis. I talk a lot of Garden of Eden. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the
You
concept
even
of this.
some of the stuff that's extra biblical you enjoy.
Right.
That's not a non-Christian thing
No,
too.
not at all.
A lot
I
of-
have done my research on some of these things.
Yeah.
That's not where we're going to go yet, maybe later. But what I do want to say is the first and the not comparing. Okay, Adam and Eve had nothing to compare the garden to. That was just the world they lived in. But the second they were thrown out into the desert after they sinned, they had something to compare the garden with at that point, and they realized it sucked.
Whoa,
right?
yeah.
Hey, here we are in the desert.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I wish I wouldn't have sinned and I could get back into the Garden of Eden. Okay, I believe that God does not want us to have things to compare with. He wants to be our first. Our relationship with God is
Wow.
uncomparable,
That's right.
and our understanding of God's grace for us cannot be compared to anything because we're all sinners. We've all fallen short. Obviously, we're all lost without God.
Wow.
And hell, essentially, Hades, however you want to say it, is the separation from God. Okay, now I don't know how many of you in the audience have experienced this, but when I was having a panic attack, that to me was a separation from God. There was a feeling that God was not with me.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing I could compare it to was a separation from God. Okay, his Holy Spirit was not with me in those moments. No, he was, okay. I'm not going to make some weird theology, but it felt like I was
What it felt
alone,
like
right?
Was you were alone.
Right. So God doesn't want us to be able to compare one girl with our wife or some, for her, the other boyfriends with you.
Right.
And in how many aspects of our life, go through your life and check this out. How many times have we maybe gotten two options so we could compare the two instead of going with the first one we loved or our heart was wanting? Okay. We're talking about this right now in house hunting. Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, if we
Okay.
find a house in one place,
Yes.
well, we shouldn't just buy it. We should go to the other place and see if we like it there.
Got it.
And we're going to compare the two houses. Now, that's smart shopping, but
Right.
is that smart spiritually? And that's where I want to know more about this first and how that led into the fear.
Mm-hmm.
How did you have fear? It sounds like that was overcome.
Yeah, well, it has been overcome,
But in those moments-
it took years. In those moments, it was not. It overcame me.
Okay.
And I'm not talking now. I'm not talking on the sexual side. I'm talking about Carrie Ann and I are leaving the Cabo airport. We had been gifted by one of Carrie Ann's family members a trip to Cabo, Mexico for a honeymoon, which was amazing on paper.
Did you get a tan? Did you have a tan back then?
No, I don't tan, Clint. You probably don't either.
I do. I'll
Oh,
tan.
stop it.
Better than you. How about? Maybe not my head, though. You get a better tan on your head.
We post these in black and white, but Clint is most definitely a redhead.
This is the
so-
lightest part. This part gets tan.
Yeah, it turns into one single freckle is what that turns into.
Hey. So
No,
anyway,
I speak from experience.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
All right, Cabo, coming back.
Yeah, so we're in Cabo, and I haven't even seen the sunshine in Cabo. We got in, it was nighttime. We hop in a cab, and we end up in a taxi going to the resort area, which means when you leave, the city lights disappear, and you end up out in on these country roads driving out to the resorts. Well, I didn't know that. I'm thinking this dude's taking us out there and he's gonna kill me and
I have a similar
take my
story.
wife. And
yes, I love this.
Okay,
I know
okay.
that fear, my friend.
it's a terrible sense of
Yeah.
being out of control. And the
this is
sense
before
of
cell
response.
phones.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. It was 1999.
So you didn't
and
have
I
a way
was-
to reach out and say, "Hey,
No.
being abducted."
No. And obviously now I know. Oh, that's the way you get out to the resorts. But at the
first
time,
time.
I didn't know. First time, I was very concerned, and I was very much worried at a deeper level that I couldn't pull off being the man that I thought Carrie Ann expected me to be,
Yeah.
and then I expected of myself, and
Right.
that was a super humbling. That was a super humbling thing, but it was all encapsulated in fear.
Right. And you were looking for a weapon, and there wasn't anything. You were looking for a tree branch, or could use your belt to get out
I
of the
can
situation.
pull out the guns. But,
Oh, the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
I
that's
had-
where your MacGyver mind starts working. And
Yeah,
you're
how can I
thinking,
use this door handle to like stab somebody?
This is where fear takes us. I mean, this is. And
Yeah.
I've been in a similar situation. So, okay, so you go from first and you get to fear already.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't have a good answer for where it took me, but here's what I do know. Kind of in wrapping this up, this kind of my final thought as far as the fear already was, there was a sense of the physical taking control of the mental and the spiritual.
Right.
So, I mean, we're three parts. We're mind, body, spirit, and my it was either my mind or it was the my mind. Let's do it that way. My mind was taking over the physical and the spiritual, and fear was manifesting in just some crazy ways.
Right.
Sweats, shakes, and that was doing something to my spirit too, because I wasn't trusting God. I was thinking, how can I solve this problem?
Right.
And that's really what I have longed now in retrospect, looking and writing this story, looking at those experiences and writing the story, is this idea that I want to guide people in this idea that health, even though I'm not healed from all of the fear, or in my case, manic depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, I am healthy. And we can be people who, even when we get into taxi cabs or
Headed into the jungle.
something crazy happens, we can and must be a people who trust that God has a plan for our health. And there's no easy answers. When panic hits and all of that, I understand. But this is part of why we are talking about it. Because this lifestyle of heroic disgrace is something that I wasn't living at the time, and I need to live now.
Wise words. I appreciate it. I like hearing this. Heroic Disgrace, obviously, .com. You can get it at Amazon, the book by Scott Box. You can find it on probably everywhere books are sold.
Yeah.
You can order this. worshiphero.com as well. And we're just going to go through this step-by-step kind of subsection by subsection, but also just fill in a lot of behind the scenes as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch up with you next time. See ya.